Welcome to Process to Profitability, hosted by me, Samantha Mabe. Process to Profitability centers on strategic processes that reduce costs while increasing conversions, productivity, and efficiency for creative CEO women who are growing sustainable, successful service-based businesses. We'll discuss strategies that produce sustainable profits and how to apply these processes to your small business through solo episodes and some amazing guests this season. I'm so excited for this episode of Process to Profitability. I'm bringing on Sarah Weiss, who is a social media strategist, and we are talking all about TikTok and short form video. Things have changed so much, even since we decided we were going to do this episode. So Sarah walks us through all of that and really how to get started on TikTok and how to see more profitability in your business from the time that you're spending there, even over other social media platforms. Sarah is a social media strategist specializing in short form video marketing, aka TikTok and Instagram Reels. She gets brands and biz owners visible online using the power of video so they can land dreamy clients and remain top of mind to their audience. When she's not nailing it on TikTok, Sarah loves to go to wineries with her fiance, cuddling her dogs, and jamming out to Broadway show tunes. This episode is super helpful, and Sarah has some amazing freebies at the end, so make sure you check out the show notes to get those, and let's dive in. Hi, Sarah. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, so let's get started by having you tell us a little bit about your business journey and really how you have become profitable in your business.
Yes. So my journey is a little bit interesting. So I'm a certified speech language pathologist. That's what I went to school for. I got my master's in it. And about 2.5 years in, I realized this is not for me. This is not it. I am super burnt out. I am such a creative person in general. Like when I was in high school, I would do musical theater. I'm a huge Broadway musical nerd, for anyone that knows me. And that cup just wasn't getting filled up. So on my commutes, I started listening to all the business podcasts and started listening in on freelancing. And then I fell into social media management, and I'm okay, these numbers are adding up so much so that I can replace and exceed my master's level SLP income if I just do the thing. I don't need to go back to school. I just need to do the thing. And so that's exactly what I did. I don't, you don't have to follow this journey, but I never told anyone that I was new. I just learned everything that I could. I acted as if I've been doing this forever. And that's how I got clients. And so I got my first few retainer clients. And then I was at the point where I had to make a decision, just time and mental health wise, am I going to keep doing this, or am I just going to fall back and do speech? And so I was nope, let's rip the Band-Aid off. We're going to do the business full time.
Awesome. I love that. And I love that you didn't tell people you were new. I think so many of us are well, I can't charge lots of prices because I've never done this before, and I need to beta test. And really, if you can just go in and you already know your stuff a whole lot more than the people who are hiring you. It doesn't matter how new you are, as long as you're willing to do the work to get them the results, then you don't have to do the whole, hi, I'm new here. You don't have to pay me very much thing.
Yes. And I see that so much in the online business world that if you really lead with competency, people will not question you. But if you go in there and you're oh, I don't know, I'm new. It gives off that vibe oh, is this worth it? Can you do it? When you are probably more than competent to do it.
So I know you do social media management and things have changed so much in the social media landscape since I was in business, but even like the last few years. So we're going to be specifically talking about TikTok and kind of the video trend. Why is TikTok beneficial for business owners? Because I think when we think of that, we just think funny videos. Why should we be thinking about that for our businesses?
Yes, and that is such a good question. And it's so funny that you say like, oh, it's changed so much in the past few years. But like, as I was getting ready to do the podcast this morning, I'm like, oh my gosh, like TikTok has changed so much in the past few months that I'm probably going to be talking about things totally different on this podcast than I did on podcasts a few months ago. So it is constantly changing. So I'm so glad that everyone's here for the tea, but getting into why it's good for business owners. So let's get into some just hard facts and data, because I'm all about some data. TikTok exceeded Google as the most popular web domain in 2021. So let's think about what that means for a second. So not only does it mean that it's the most popular social media platform, but it means that people are using it as a search engine. And that is so important to think about, because even if you're saying to yourself, or even if people around you are saying like, oh no, like you're in your 40s, for example, you're in your 50s, like your quote unquote ideal client is not going to be on TikTok. There's a whole untapped audience, unless your client never uses the internet to search for things, in which case they probably won't be looking for an online business owner to help them. Then your ideal client is on TikTok. The second stat that I feel like has changed in the past few months that was mind-blowing to me is over 60% of the TikTok demographic is filled with that like 20 to 50 plus age range. Those are your buyers right there. More than half of the platform. So that was like a wild stat that I'm like, that has definitely changed in the past few months. Everything originates there. And so it just makes sense if business owners are leveraging social media as a big part of their marketing strategy. It just makes sense to start there.
Okay. I love the stats. And I think hearing that like 50% of these people are not the teenagers in high school, we can start to dispel the idea that TikTok is just like viral dances and
Yes.
that kind of stuff, that if you've never been on the platform, you don't see that. There's really a lot more going on there, and people are there. Even if they're not like on TikTok, they're watching TikTok videos because people are sharing them.
Yes, 100%. And it's, I had coffee with an online business owner yesterday that I met from TikTok. And so shout out networking opportunities. But anyway, I asked her straight up, I was like, how do you get most of your leads? Like, I know you use TikTok a lot, just like I do, but like, do you get them from, like referrals? Do you do like organic social on other platforms? Do you use paid ads? Like, do you use email marketing? Like, I asked her all the things. And I'm always so curious for people that are also leveraging TikTok at the same pace that I am, right? Or the same pace that any business owner is that's consistent on the platform. And she said that like the majority of her leads, 90% of her leads are coming from TikTok, which like blew my mind. And she's a systems strategist. It's not like she's doing like, oh, I'm an influencer to go to my Amazon storefront. No, like she is a systems strategist. And I didn't know about her until I found her on TikTok, and she is getting like almost 90 leads from TikTok. And I was like mind blown.
If that doesn't convince people, I don't know what will. I mean, because when we're on other social media platforms, a lot of times you're not seeing leads from there. That's what I've heard from so many people is my leads aren't coming from here, but people check me out on Instagram or something. They follow, but that's not where they're actually going to be like, okay, now I'm ready to buy, or this is the first place that I found you and I'm ready to buy.
Yeah, so that's a really good point, and I want to dive into that a little bit more, because I see now that Instagram is becoming more of like your office, like your online office. If somebody finds you, they want to vet you out, they'll most likely go creep on you on your Instagram. It's just, they will. And that's fine. You can have all your things up on your Instagram. You can have your highlight section that shows like your testimonials and your how to work with you and your reels and all that amazing stuff. But with TikTok, it's still so much so in that like that early, like get on the TikTok train phase, that like there's so much organic reach on there. You don't need to do paid ads yet. You don't need to worry about like the recommended suggestions popping into your feed and overbearing the people that you're following. It's just a nice way for your videos to get pushed out to people that don't know about you, because that's where most of your videos go on TikTok. Most of the time they get pushed out to people that do not know about you. So it's a wide net, and then Instagram and your email list and your closed groups can be where you bring them to nurture, but take advantage of that wide net that's completely organic.
Yeah. So how else does TikTok differ from Instagram? Because we're seeing Instagram reels, and I know people are like posting the same things on both of those. So how are they different, especially when you're thinking about the whole point of being on social media as a business is I want to bring in more clients. So where are those two places different, and why should we think about TikTok over Instagram, or at least do both of those?
Yeah, so the biggest difference is Instagram is way more curated. It's more of a polished look. There's also, in terms of reels, I'm still seeing trends or like those lip syncing videos way overpower the talking video or the original content videos. Whereas TikTok is literally, when you're scrolling your feed, it's like you're watching like a FaceTime with a friend, or you're watching like a story. And stories are what connects people, and stories are what sells, because people are getting very, very smart in the marketing world, especially in the online business world, because there's so much content. People are getting too smart for these for these trends that like a million people are doing. But if you see someone with a captivating hook and telling a story that you can connect with, that's going to sell, and that's going to connect you way, way more. And that's what TikTok is.
Yeah, that is really helpful, because I've seen the same thing. When I share like a trending audio that I've done, it gets a whole lot more views than any of my original content. But you hear people saying original content is doing well. So it's so hard to know what to concentrate on. And if we can get on a platform that is like, okay, this is what's doing well, and it's easier because you're not trying to like lip sync to something a million times, then we can actually share about our business and our impact and reach people. You said you're casting a wide net, but some of those people are going to turn into leads. They're going to be interested in continuing to follow you.
100%. And side note, if you look at the reels for anybody, if you look at the ones that do quote unquote really well, the ones that get all the views and all the likes, so many people are from like East Bumble. Like nothing wrong with East Bumble, but like they're not buying my VIP day. They're not getting a website design. They're from East Bumble, and they're probably, a lot of them are bots. And I think Instagram is trying so hard to compete with TikTok that it like inflates a lot of those views. Whereas on TikTok, like when something hits really well, like you'll also see the comments too. You'll also see people like really commenting and like asking you questions and like connecting with you. And so
it's more real engagement. So, I mean, I think we've covered a lot of this, but why do you think TikTok specifically is good for lead generation? And why have you seen it kind of work for the businesses that you've worked with or that you've talked to?
Yeah. So let's go back. So Instagram Reels do get pushed out to people that are not following you. But like we said, a lot of it is inflated. Some of it's not, but a lot of it's inflated. But with Reels, most of the time it gets pushed out to your followers.
Okay.
Most of the time. That's what it's meant for. On TikTok, most of the time it's getting pushed out to new people. So every single time you post a video, it's getting pushed out to new people. And that's how the algorithm works. If it does well with that first group of new people, then it gets pushed out again. And then if it does well with that new group of people, then it gets pushed out again. And so it's just all those new eyes on you and your business every single time. That is one reason. Another reason is it's just more of a humanizing platform. Like people are able to see your personality. You're able to go on there and tell stories. You're able to go on there without makeup on or your hair done or finding your perfect strategy or trending audio. Like you can just like get on your phone, drop a hot take or a controversial opinion and press post. And you know, and that's okay, and people love that. And so like, and I'm sure we'll get to this too, I want to get to this when we're kind of like on that sprint to 1,000 followers to get that link in your bio, and you're posting multiple times a day, people get scared by that. But a lot of the time it's just those videos can literally take you like 5 minutes.
Okay.
So it's just so more of like, I know authentic is becoming like a buzzword, but it's such an authentic and like humanizing platform.
All right. So do we want to start with hooks or do we want to start with getting followers? Because I did not know you needed 1,000 followers to get a link in bio.
Yeah, let's dive into that.
Okay. So yeah, let's just talk about like how it works, how you would get started, how you get to that first 1,000 followers from a real person's perspective, not somebody who has a huge audience and just needs to announce, I'm now on TikTok, and they get 1 million people to follow them.
Yes, 100%. So if you're first starting out, I recommend going in with a personal account and not a business account, even if you are a business, because you're not going to have access to like a lot of the trending audio that you'll want to use. You want to go in and make sure your bio is really clear about what do you do? What can you help me with? What do you do? Keywords are big on TikTok right now. And so like your name section on TikTok, you wouldn't want to put Sarah Weiss. For mine, I have TikTok and social media manager, because when people are looking for me or my help, they're not going to know to search for Sarah Weiss. They're going to know to search for a social media manager or a TikTok manager or TikTok tips. So you put those keywords in your name. And then you can always put like, hi, I'm Samantha. Hi, I'm Sarah in your bio.
Okay.
Then, right. So getting an optimized profile is number one. Number two, you should be posting about 2 to 3 times a day. And I'm going to tell you why. People might give me pushback on this, but I'm going to tell you why. There are 2 main reasons. One, you're brand new to the platform and the algorithm is super smart. It has no idea who you are, and you want to give it as much information as possible so that it pushes you out to the right people. And in turn, it also gives you the right people to interact with. And it also helps you test like, okay, this hits well on TikTok, or this doesn't hit well on TikTok. This might have hit well on Instagram, but it's not working on TikTok. This hits amazing on TikTok. This flops on Instagram. So it helps you really test. Another reason is because when you're brand new, if they enjoyed a video from the For You page, you want them to have content to go back on. And if you're posting like 3 videos a week, there's not going to be much there. So again, it literally can take like 5 minutes to post a video on there. It does not need to be a whole song and a dance and a blog post. like Instagram does, which leads me into your caption does not need to be paragraphs long like it is on Instagram. You actually cannot make it paragraphs long. There's a character limit, and I recommend doing like 2 sentences, really talking about what the video is about with keywords of what the video is about, and 5 to 10 hashtags specific to you in your video. So it does not need to be your 30 hashtags in your blog post from Instagram. And if you're consistent with that, and you're really seeing like, okay, this has hit well with my audience on TikTok, I'm going to make more content around this, and kind of like test and then be strategic with what the kind of stuff you're posting. That's how you get to that 1,000 follower mark.
Okay. And that's when you can get the link in bio and really start driving people to your website and your other stuff.
Yes.
Okay. So let's get into like hooks and the content that we want to be sharing. So why is a hook is specifically important, and kind of what are those? How do we do that?
Yes. So I'm so glad we're talking about this, because this is something that has changed since I've talked on podcasts a few months ago. When I talked on podcasts a few months ago, people were able to kind of use like, here are 3 tips, and you could still use those, but they're not going to hit as well as making it really specific to your, like the story that you're about to tell or what you're about to show them. Like, let's do an example. Like a really good hook might be, look how I just filled up my entire calendar for the next 4 months. I can't give you a fill in the blank about that. That is so specific to your story.
Right.
But I want to know, show me, turn your phone around and show me how you just filled your calendar up for the next 4 months. Right. So like getting really like into your audience's head and getting into like, would I want to watch this? Would this keep me scrolling the platform, or would this make me kind of stop and listen? But they're important because watch time is so important on TikTok. It's a make or break factor of whether they keep pushing your videos out. And people typically will make a decision within like 3 seconds if they're going to scroll. So I do not want you to introduce yourself in the first 3 seconds. I do not want you to say, so I'm just popping on here too. I don't want any of that. Like, I want you to get right to the point. Like, get right to the point. And then if you have to do a lead in, if you want to introduce yourself every few videos, go on with your bad self. But a hook is so important in those talking videos, those original content videos, because people will make a decision of whether or not they want to scroll in like 3 seconds.
Okay. That's very helpful. And we all know those people that are like, I'm just coming on today to do this. But thinking about, you've really got to hook their attention. And thinking about this from like just a content perspective, when you're paying attention to what your audience wants to hear about, you're really getting into what their pain points are, what the transformation they're looking at is. So all of it helps you grow your business, because you're really getting, it sounds like, a pulse on your audience pretty quickly through TikTok, that then you can use that information elsewhere.
Yeah. And there's so many opportunities for that. Like I could think of 2 off the top of my head that has like really helped me. 1, get a pulse on like what my audience needs. And 2, has helped me build like a really like genuine relationship with them. So one of them is doing series on TikTok. Like I have a series called Let's Audit Your TikTok.
Okay.
And I don't do it all the time, but people, like when I do it, people are able to just drop their username and what they do. And I'll like do the green screen behind me and say like, this is what you're doing great. This is what you can fix. I have no idea what this means. Let's try and fix it. This looks amazing. I'm so captivated by this. And I've gotten so many leads from that. But not only that, it helps kind of like you see, this is what my audience needs because I keep seeing this over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Another thing is using the feature where you can answer questions with a video response. That has been amazing at like building genuine relationships. Like I have had people that like, I just started the relationship with like answering a question with a video response. And like, now they're like, we talk in the DMs like all the time, like almost every week, because they're just so grateful that you took the time not only to like help them out, but like, it wasn't like a surface level comment. Like you got on video, answered their question, said their name. Like people forget to be social on social media. You know, like these are real human beings that are like taking the time to follow you and hear about your expertise and like are really curious about what you have to offer. And so like, I always like to just like go above and beyond for those people, and those two ways, the series and answering questions with a video response, are such good ways to do it.
Yeah. And it's, for at least for me, that's easy content because I know what I'm talking about. So it's easy for me to like get on a video and review a website for 15 minutes because I don't have to think about it, but it's so helpful for that person and for everybody else watching because they can learn and you're not spending tons of time trying to plan out the perfect thing to say.
100%.
So how do you, once you've got those 1,000 followers, how do you use TikTok to drive people to your website to get them to take the next step to really nurture those leads so that you're seeing some actual profitability from spending your time there?
Yeah, great question. So I actually switched my link in bio to something called a Stan store. If people haven't heard of it, it's a link in bio subscription, but you're able to sell digital products on there with a one-click checkout. So like if you click on my ebook, for example, you don't have to go to like a sales page and then a checkout page. You click on my ebook and it's like, if this looks good and feels good for you to get, enter your card information.
Okay.
So it's like a one-click checkout, which is really good for TikTok because people have very short attention spans. I've been monetizing it that way. And then I also put like my higher ticket services in there, like my application to work with me for my VIP day or my application to work with me for social media management. And that stuff brings them to my Dubsado form to fill all that information out and book a call because that takes a little bit more vetting.
We want to reduce friction and people make those decisions really quickly. I really like that you, even for things that require an application, you're not sending them to a sales page. Like they can go there if they want to learn more information, but if they are ready to just fill out that application, you've eliminated so many steps. They can fill it out and then, you know, you've got your automations in the background, I'm sure, that sends stuff out that people aren't having to go step by step through this whole thing. They can really like, okay, I'm ready to take action. I just like click a couple of buttons, I fill out the information, I'm ready to go.
Yeah. And I love that you said that because it's so funny that I didn't even think to put my sales page as like a first step before going there, because when people click on the link to like apply for social media management or apply to the VIP day, they already know me so well from TikTok. Like they feel like we're friends. And that's what happens if you're consistent on the platform. They feel like I already know that you're competent about what you're doing. Like I don't need to go and read the sales page. I've already been eyeing this. I hear you talking about it. I already know about your dogs and your musical love and all that. I feel like I know you as a friend. I'm ready now. Let's just do it. So that's what TikTok does, remove that friction because you've already been kind of spending this time just being a human. on the platform.
So other than that kind of link in bio setup, do you have other tools that you recommend people use when they're creating TikTok content or getting it posted to make that easier?
Yes. So my main tool that I use to edit videos outside of the TikTok app is completely free, and it's called CapCut, CapCut, CapCut. And it lets you do everything you need to do. It lets you edit any kind of video, vertical video, a YouTube style video, any kind of video. You could add text in there. They have the same fonts that are native to the TikTok platform. And then as far as like planning and storing my content, I actually use Airtable for that.
Okay.
I do not, and I use the free version of Airtable. It does everything I need it to do. That's literally where I can like copy and paste a sound link, write a little blurb about what I want to do. I could even like upload the raw video footage into there, because I know people are like terrified of their drafts getting deleted on like the actual TikTok and Instagram apps. And then I have it ready to go. And you could even like type in your caption and your hashtags. That way you could just copy and paste it.
And do you find that you have to engage, like, I'm sure you're answering people's comments on yours, but is this a platform where you've got to engage with other people to kind of build a following? Or do you think spending most of your time in your own account is where it's at?
You'll do it organically. I made a video about this the other day that got, because it was the hot takes and controversial opinions do very well on TikTok. But on Instagram and even on LinkedIn, this is something that grinds my gears. It looks like if you've ever been in college and had to do like a discussion board post, It looks like the discussion board post comments that you need to like get credit for that assignment. But on TikTok, you're going to organically engage anyway, because like those videos like just come across your For You page, and like you're going to feel compelled to comment if they show me something that I'm interested in, and then I'll comment that because I'm genuinely curious. So you will not have to like build in your engagement time. Like it will come so naturally.
So once you've hit that like 1,000 followers, do you need to continue to post a couple times a day, or do you feel like you can slow down a little bit?
I always like to say, do what's sustainable for you, because I'm huge on like mental health and like doing what protects your energy. 1,000%. Like that is what is most important to me. But there's going to be so many things that like you want to talk about. That's the thing with TikTok, is like you can just talk about stuff, like stuff that you would natively just like post on your stories on other platforms. It goes on your feed on TikTok. There's going to be so many things that you want to talk about. But yes, you can scale back a little bit after you hit that mark, and then say like, okay, like this is what feels good for me. Maybe I'll post like 2 videos today, but like the rest of the week, I'm just going to post 1.
Okay.
Or maybe I'm just going to post Monday to Friday, and that's going to be it. So you can scale back. I'm going to tell you what I do, and then I'm going to tell you what I do for my clients, because I work in social media. So I'm not a good gauge for somebody that's a small business owner, for example, at like a brick and mortar, or even like you're a web designer. You're not spending all day on TikTok. So for me, like I still very much stick to like about 2 to 3 videos a day, but that's just because I have a lot to say, like, and talk about and answer questions. And like sometimes I have to stop myself, like you're gonna run out of content like if you post it all today. But what I do for my clients is, while we're on that quote unquote sprint to 1,000, we do 2 to 3 videos a day. And then after that, we sit down and I'm like, okay, what feels good for you? Can you keep this up, or should we scale back to 1 video a day? I still recommend doing 1 video a day, because you have to be consistent on the platform in order to keep growing, and in order for your stuff to be getting pushed out and in order to keep interacting with your audience. But again, a lot of the times, like, people are asking you questions anyway, and you want to get to those questions. And so it becomes very easy to do, like, I don't know, like a trending audio that you think is funny, and then like answering a question.
Okay.
There's 2 videos. So, but yeah, whatever, like, protect your mental health first. Like, don't burn yourself out, and do what's sustainable for you. Batching is like huge for me. Again, like, I am the kind of person that, like, I do not always have the energy to like show up on camera and answer questions. And like, not saying that I'm not myself on video, but like sometimes you just have to turn it up a notch to be a little bit more engaging. And so batching has been extremely helpful. And yes, that is what I do during my VIP day, is we sit down and we talk about, like, okay, what are your goals going to be for the upcoming month? And then we make videos, whether it be, you know, some trending audio. We do a lot of original content because that's more like evergreen. And then we just make videos around that. That way you have it all batched and you just have to post it.
So I like to ask people when we wrap up, what has been the most impactful decision that you've made in your business and why?
That is a good question. I think the most impactful decision I've made in my business is focusing on forming a strong network with other business owners, because the online space can become very lonely, and it is completely amazing to have such an awesome network of people that just get it. Plus, most of the time, people want to help people. And so you inherently become like referrals for each other and help people out in that way. And so forming a network, which is something I never, ever invested any time into at the beginning of my business. And now it's like, I make sure to do a few calls every week because I truly need it. Is so important. And yeah, that's definitely mine. A good network of awesome humans.
Yes. It's good for your business. It's good for your health. It's good to just have those people in your life that get it and get what we're going through.
Yes.
So where can people find and connect with you online? And I know you've got a freebie or 2 to share. So let's talk through that. And people can also get all of this in the show notes.
Yes. So if you want to find me, you can find me on TikTok or Instagram, which is at On Brand by Sarah. You can go to my website, onbrandbysarah.com. And I have a freebie of 20 hooks that you could use for your short form video. And I'm also working on another freebie because I feel like everyone is giving out the hook freebies. And this freebie is going to be really helpful if you're getting started on TikTok and you want to optimize that profile. So check back in the show notes.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of this today. I'm really excited for people to listen. I loved Sarah's tip about directing people from TikTok to somewhere very actionable, whether that is directly to your application or somewhere that they can check out on your page. That was so helpful. And when we're thinking about website design and marketing and funnels, we need to know what is going to make people take action. And in this case, when you've been on TikTok for a while and people are ready to take that next step, they know that they want to work with you. So it is best to eliminate any friction along the way. And if they want to know more, obviously they can go check out your website. And that's a great place to have all of that information. But if they're ready to just hit the ground running, let them do that. Don't get in the way of people taking action, giving you money so that you can have a more profitable business. And since Sarah and I had this conversation, I am actually on TikTok as Lemon in the Sea. So go and check that out. I'm going to be sharing all kinds of videos. I think I'm going to be doing some website reviews and some series on sales pages and conversions. So make sure you follow along there as well as on Instagram. And as always, if you enjoyed the podcast, leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. It helps other people find the show and it helps me know more about what kind of episodes and what kind of guests you want to hear from. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Process to Profitability. I'd love it if you would leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts to help others find the show, and send me a message to let me know, what is your process to profitability? You can connect with me on my website at lemonandthesea.com or on Instagram and TikTok at lemonandthesea.